Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Fed Up with me, the eternal miserable one. Guys, joining me today are, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce this, Guyod. Would that be correct or is that very incorrect?
That's fine.
I guess it'll do. Could you all introduce yourselves, please? Tell us, your band member names, instruments you play as well.
I am Daikakuji and I play bass.
I'm Rehoboth and I'm playing the drums.
I'm Dohrn. I'm playing the guitar.
I'm Ōjin and I'm doing the front preacher.
Yay. And thanks for joining us today from the depth as well. I hope the Atlanteans haven't been giving you too much of a hard time and forcing you to listen to their evil pop music. I know that's been one of the ongoing wars down there in the depths. So I've got to jump in, guys. When I first came across the band and I was going back and forth in emails with Dohrn, and I was absolutely fascinated by the concept, with it being all about the oceans, the mystery of water, the unknown. And I thought, man, here is somebody who is doing something different, because, we often read and see documentaries and things about what's out there in space, UFOs, etc. But we still don't know enough about our own planet, and especially with the ocean. So what is it about the mystery of the depths and the dark depths that inspired you all to create the band and have that concept about water as well?
I guess it's part of what you said already. So that there's still so much unknown in the oceans down there. As you said, we know some things about space with still things we don't know about the oceans. So it's kind of a mysterious place. So that's one part of it, I would say.
Otherwise, there's also so many unknown life forms down there, which are not really. They seem like from a novel from Lovecraft or so.
Yeah, very much so.
For me, it's like in the space, you have lights, you can see lights, but in the depths of the ocean, there are no lights. There are even dark, and then there's the pressure of the water, and it's like the environment is, I would say, as crazy as the vacuum of the universe, but the crazy thing, and then there is still life who can evolve in the complete darkness and pressure of that environment, and I think that's very fascinating.
Absolutely. I think just the sheer force of water is something that's impresses me, at least. Something like it can be like very calm, but when you imagine being out there, like on the water, in the middle of the ocean with nothing around you but like vast emptiness of the seas, or even worse when you're down there.
When you change the cannonball and drag down to the abyss. So there is the connection with death metal, I think.
Yeah.
The very awful death of drowning.
Yeah. And well, as you've all rightly said there, there's you can feed into the horror aspect as well with the Lovecraft vibe, and then that mystery, like the classic, from the Alien movies, no one in space, no one can hear you scream. Well, you can say that about the depths as well, because utter complete darkness, then what is down there? Could there be we know there's life down there. Could there be some long lost mysterious civilization we don't know about? There's supposedly the huge giant squids that are down there right at those depths as well. I think it was only one kind of whale, I think, can get to those depths as well. So yeah, I just thought, man, this is an interesting concept because it's, as I said, it's a bit different. It's got that mystery to it. And I mean, in film, I think there was a movie. It's not that old either, where I think they were trying to mine something so far down in the ocean, and then some like mysterious creatures started attacking the mining station, and then I had to get back to the surface. It's not The Meg. It's not one of those movies.
I think the movie is called Abyss.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that one. No, it was.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know that one. These ones, they kind of looked like giant kind of squid humanoid-like creatures, I think. I'll look it up after the show and say, oh yeah, here it is. This is what I couldn't remember. The other thing as well is the artwork for the forthcoming album, Heart of Thy Abyss. I'm really interested to hear who designed that for you, how you all came up with the idea, because I love the fact you've got like water, you've got like the waves coming up, the dark waves, as if they're, and there's like the shipwreck at the side of it, and then there's the light above, and it's as if these waves are kind of, if it's some creature or it's alive, like very Lovecraft. Again, I can see that, as if it's trying to grab something. And like the music has, which I'm going to ask you about in a moment, it even has that bit of mystery and horror entwined. So, who did that for you?
It was Chaos Dictator from Serbia.
Nice.
Don't know if you know him.
No, I don't, but it's excellent.
Yeah, he has designed really great album covers before, so we came across his work and thought, well, that guy could do an artwork for us too.
We basically gave him some ideas, say like stuff we want, stuff we don't want, and he basically just was a back and forth of his ideas, and we gave him feedback, say, okay, can you please change that, or try this, or try that, and go into that direction.
Yeah.
And but it was a really cool process, I have to say.
Yeah, I bet. It's I love it. The nerd in me is as well, like, grabbed me straight away. I thought, oh man, that's pretty awesome. We were talking Guyod. Oops, background there. We were talking recently in one of our emails back and forth, Dohrn, about the video that you have for Watcher in the Dark. And what I liked, guys, is you've got a very cinematic feel with it. It's almost like a mini movie. It's got that mystery, the horror again. I like how you can't quite see your faces. So to people who are watching, it makes you think, oh, well, who are these guys? Where they're from? And it says like death metal from the depths. You have that nice melody at the start of the song. And at the end, I really love the like shamanistic drums that come in, as if it's like a ritual, as if this is from the depths. This is one of our songs. So I'm just wondering, this is a loaded question with many parts, I guess. How did you all come up with the idea for the video? And did you intend on putting the drum sequence at the end there to give us that kind of feel, as I've said, where it's some kind of ritual, is some kind of magic or something happening?
Well, first of all, thanks for the feedback. Really appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
That it comes across that way, because that's probably more or less as we intended. Maybe you want to say a few things about the process of making the video?
Yes, it was started with a basic idea of mountain cave, which can be mistaken for like a cave underground. And we got up and found that. So we wanted to almost a feeling of crushing darkness and solitude, and also the how do you say, the eeriness of the Watcher. Coming again in the video, and almost like a puppeteer with with everything.
I think the the drums in the end, I think, like in the song, they were coming in naturally, or it was like, yeah, let's do this, and maybe that could sound like tribal ritual thing, and it was a natural thing we did. I don't know if I don't think that we were like having a meaning for that, but it was cool. And then in the filming process, we had like this idea of the watcher, like in this cave, and then naturally we said, hey, for the outro, let's have him play like the watcher who plays the drums at the end, like in this dual manner. And it fit in perfectly. It came naturally. It was not that we thought about it very very strict in the beginning.
Yeah, we were just basically looking for a drum line for the outro.
Yeah.
So the guitar was there. We had some, like, the chants, I think, were there before the drums. I'm not sure anymore. But it was just we were like trying out a few things, and we wanted to go in this simple, like tom
like
direction. But
I as the drummer, I had in mind like this drums in like in a cave or far away, like with the chants of the vocals, like have this ritual thing, and it came naturally and it fits in perfectly, and that's how it got there.
Yeah, I tell you guys, if you've come up with that naturally, man, I'd like to see what you can do when you've got an even, you've got a concept in mind and say, right, we're going to go with this, because that is pretty amazing stuff, and this is no ego stroking. I like the music. The video goes with the music so well, because you've kind of got that melodic kind of black metal kind of feel, in the background. Even that doom-esque vibe as well. And then you've got the furious vocals coming through, and then the riffs with the guitars as well. And it just seems to be a nice balance. And I guess to reference the ocean, almost as if, I'm going to sound so cliche here, but like the calm before the storm, you've got the peaceful waves, and then it turns into this absolute ferocious monster, destroys everything in its path. The path, can't even speak English now. And then it, that's kind of debatable anyway. But anyway, back on topic. And then it kind of, the ferociousness happens, goes back to the calm, and then the monster appears again, if you like, thunderous music, and then you have the nice mellow outro. And I thought, man, what a video and introduction for the forthcoming album that is. I really enjoyed it, and the lyrics as well. It gives you that kind of sense of terror of if you somehow found yourself in an environment like that, where it is complete darkness and there's just all the water around us. And I think people underestimate the power of water as a whole and the destruction that it can bring. So it's the perfect, it's a perfect blend with death metal. So looking at the, sorry, go. Sure, jump in. Yeah, sure, jump in. People want to hear you guys talking at me. So,
especially with Watcher, I think, and you will see that in the album even more. But there's not to underestimate a portion of programmatic music. Like there are songs that tell a story over several songs, and there's like the overarching like impressionism of Watcher, where you have first the calm, the rising of the waves, and that's like like almost the eye of the storm, and then it hits you again in the like third quarter of the song, and then in the end it's like almost getting washed ashore after being in a storm. Like that's like an impressionistic aspect to it.
Yeah, and actually the vocals at the end should be taken as it is spoken by the Watcher himself.
Nice.
So therefore, they're a bit different than the rest of the song.
Yeah. So it's separating it. That's, as you said, the watcher, the character who's observing, and it does make me think of Now We're Live. I forget the trying to think now. The Watchers from Myth as well, who supposedly, I think, the Watchers, who supposedly watched humans, in ancient times, everything that was happening. So it did make me think of that as well. So I'm curious, what inspired the title then, with that said, for the song?
That's a good question. I think the title was there before the lyrics.
Programmatic music.
Yeah, it's like sometimes when I write music or when I start writing music, I try to find a title or working title for that. And often that changes, but sometimes it sticks. Like in this case, it just felt like a cool image.
Yeah.
And what I think what the song is also doing, like what you said about the watcher figure, and we try to put it into video like a little bit. And I don't want to go into lyrics like explain them at all, but there are parts in it which kind of want to put you in an outside perspective, outside of humanity, and just take a look at our kind.
Like the watcher has been watching for millennia, but we're still in the shadows.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting, because as I said, there's the it's one of the religious books, and I'm forgetting which, but there's this whole kind of myth around the Watchers who were supposedly watching, what everybody was doing, and I found this intriguing with what you just said as well, where it's a watcher who is observing what's happening in the depths, what's taking place, who are these people. It's all that mystery element, and any kind of art, music, film, novels, even games, if it's got that element of mystery to it as well, it's a great way to hook the audience in and keep them guessing, because we then, we'll all have our own interpretations as well. Oh, I think they were trying to say this. Oh, I think this is about it, and that's good. It gains that interest. So I'm curious as well. Well, I've been saying that a lot. Of course, I'm curious. Where did you film the video?
Are we going to spoil that?
We don't have to. We don't have to. It's okay.
Give away the exact location, but it's like a cave in the region where we live.
And
nice.
It has some history.
It has some history.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's cool, man. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, and some other water scenes which we filmed underwater, but we're also not going to give away the specific location.
Yeah, it's all good. I don't want to exactly ruin the whole creative process, and then everyone, it was filmed there, and everyone flocks there. It's like, then that takes a bit of the mystery element away. Then so it'd be counterproductive.
There's not a making of documentary for the video.
Interesting. Oh man. Oh, now I'm a huge film head outside of music, so you've just got my nerdy imagination going crazy hearing that as well. Already has me thinking, man, you've got to come back. We've got to do a deep dive on the documentary as well. That'd be absolutely awesome.
It's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
I think it was misunderstanding. There will not be a documentary. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Just teasing you. So getting a little bit back on topic, I have a habit of going off into other areas as well. So you said the opener, First Wave of Destruction. I just wondered, was the anything, say, in history, a lot of these huge kind of disasters that have happened, from tidal waves, tsunamis, etc., that inspired that song? Or again, was it just something that come up naturally, you thought of the destructive power of water?
Say it's somehow a combination of the destructive power of water and the the destructive power of some other things in life.
Yeah.
Let's say humans. It can be seen as a metaphor too for war.
Yeah.
Actually, it's about the tsunami hitting some city, but it can actually be seen as a metaphor for war too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think humans were probably the most destructive species on the planet, sadly, with things that are happening at the moment. And people often talk about like humans going into space, colonizing planets, etc., exploring, and I know I'm veering off into sci-fi here, but I've often said to those people, well, if you look at our history, how we've treated each other on this planet, it doesn't bode too well if we encountered somebody else out there with our destructive nature, sadly. But again, it makes good material for a death metal song for sure. So, as I said, the thing I noticed with you've got this blend of you've got melodic black metal there, straight up death metal, even bits of doom. I only recently came across the band through Against PR. Shout out to them, and I've gone back and forth with Dohrn and emails talking to him a lot. So how does the music? And I appreciate, don't want to give too much away here, so we'll try and not totally spoil it. But how do you feel? Does your sound differ from your earlier releases?
Question. Like with Guyod, we had one previous release, but it was like a bit I was the producer of that, and I did it like a demo. I don't have like the professional studio, so I did it from home, and it was like a split with my second band. So it was like I had this idea okay, we have two songs. We were a new band, and we have these two songs. Let's do that with the other band and make a split. And it was like demo material, and this time around we had like more professional recording, and also a more professional sound mixer and so on. So I think the sound will have more depth, more clearance, or it's gonna be different. Like the previous release was very raw, and I think the purpose of it was to like say, hey, we are formed now, we are a new band, and I think it did fine. But now this album is like, the forthcoming album will be a full production length album with the sound of a full professional produced album. So I think there the sound will differ, and I don't know if
we wanted to make it like make it more defined, the sound definitely, but also like keep this raw element of the sound.
So how do you? It's interesting you say that, Dohrn. How do you get that balance then with? You still want to maintain the rawness, so it's got that gritty feel in the music, but then not be too polished. I'm always find that fascinating with extreme metal bands, how they kind of can reach that middle ground.
Yeah, we had a lot of back and forth with the mixing engineer, a lot. And I'm in the fortunate position of having only a mastering studio, so I'm not sure it myself. Or not doing in-house. So this gave us a lot of I would say flexibility and possibilities to realize the sound that we were looking for.
Yeah, and there was a lot of back and forth with the mixing engineer, but we made it clear that we don't like to sound like the newest Dying Fetus album with super clean drums and super clean guitars, like or some modern brutal death metal band. And we made clear that we want like a raw sounding album, and
a soundscape that actually also tells a story, because the elements in the mix are positioned rather interestingly, I think, in the panorama wise and also in the depth wise, because the vocals will be on the bit of the right but very far back, bass on the slightly left and a bit more forward, and so there's like a cave, like an impression of a cave, rather than playing. And that is what we wanted to achieve.
Yeah, like more 3D sound and not that classic metal guitar left, right, drums in the middle and in the face, like more depth, as he says.
I always think it's quite a challenge to me, because you still want to have that rawness. And it's funny, if I talk to people from the hardcore scene and grindcore scene, they can be sometimes, if it's listenable, it's no good. It's like, this is too clean, it's not raw enough. You know, you can even get that with lo-fi black metal as well. And like, if it sounds something better than what was recorded in the bathroom, they'd be like, no, that's no good, I'm like, okay, man, each their own, I guess. But I think with the concept that you're going with, it's kind of how it comes across to me was like this dark metal cinematic journey, and it's even supported by you've got some spoken word at the end of Dissension and Abscission, which is cited from Moby Dick, the classic Moby Dick movie as well. So I think, with that being said, you've had to go for that approach so it maintains the concept that you're going with as well. So this is a general open question to you all. Moby Dick's an obvious one that must have stood out to you all. What other stories, whether natural disasters, horror movies, novels, have garnered your interest as a band, about the ocean and about the depths? Just put you all on the spot.
I actually find it hard to name any specific stories. I don't know.
So for me, as Dohrn said, there's no specific stories, but if you think about, like we said in the intro, the ocean and the darkness and the crushing depth, that alone is, I think, enough to give you an eerie feel about the whole place. Like, the stories are basically like, this can show you what's the destructive power, like a fraction of the potential destructive power of water, and but just the existence of it and the extremes of it are scary enough.
I would agree with that. I don't have now a story in my mind where I can say, that's the story which fascinated me a lot. But I think I always was fascinated with ship travel or going by ship. And when I was younger, or also with my parents, we were traveling a lot, also by big ships like cruises. And I always imagined, when you look out on the ocean, you imagine what would happen now if we have a hole or the ship goes under, and that it's like the ocean can give you this feel of completely that powerless, like you feel completely powerless and small. And I think it's very fascinating. And,
I guess the general approach we have, or maybe you want to add something to that as well, but I, with the music and also with the lyrics, I usually don't want to tell a real story. I just want to achieve, I want to get a feeling across. And this is what you you're actually as a human, you're such a tiny little speck on this planet, and you're just this overwhelming thing that is nature as a whole, but the oceans as in our case. And it's it's like so terrible that it's also kind of beautiful in a way, and it's like this
Overwhelming.
like just
Terrifying.
overwhelming and
Actually-
terrifying. Yeah.
Actually, it's also what these films are often about. If you take the classic Moby Dick movie, it's about that the guy, the captain, is just powerless against the huge power of the whale and the ocean. So it's of course, we're a bit inspired by these stories too, but
Yeah.
not specifically.
Yeah, I mean, totally. If anyone's unfortunate enough to be shipwrecked, or you're adrift in the ocean in any kind of vessel, and you're, say, in the middle of the Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Ocean, wherever, even the North Sea here, it's got to probably be one of the most, I probably can't even imagine it or put it into words, because it must be one of the most terrible, terrifying experiences. And then you've got that isolation as well, because there's nothing around you. It's a hope, well, is a ship going to go past? Is somebody going to see me? When am I going to be found? And then, when sometimes we read about these stories and say, somebody's been unfortunate to be stranded on an ocean and it's been shark infested. Well, then that adds to it, because it's like, God, this is like the sharks here. I've not only got the horror and fear of, am I going to be found, but I'm one of the sharks. Are the sharks going to basically have me for dinner? So there's no end to it in that sense. And you're right, Gordon. I think we forget just how insignificant we are against all aspects of nature, especially the ocean, which pretty much, is the dominant force on the planet, I feel. So,
in a way, because we could theoretically act differently.
yeah.
Yeah.
There are imaginable ways where we could do things differently, but
Yeah.
that's why sometimes it helps to take this outside perspective.
Yeah, it does. Before I ask you about some of the other songs, has anybody given you any feedback on these themes around the ocean and what you're doing? I just wondered if there's other people who've said, man, this is different. I like what you're doing.
Oh, sometimes, I guess.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that we're telling the story about really scientific perspectives. It's more about the feel.
Mhm. So, I mean, what people do realize, the feedback that I remember getting is like the whole way that we present ourselves. Like, if you now there's the video out, there's CD artwork, there's photos of us on social media and so on. That it sort of like it has this framework, and it's kind of it seems like there's a concept behind it.
Yeah.
Overarching concept about this.
Yeah. And well, about the water aspect in general, I didn't get much feedback. And to be honest, we're also not the only band out there that's doing that, but there are few enough so that it's still like
Like normally when I tell someone like, I'm in a band, and they ask me what's the band, and I say, we make death metal, and we have like this underwater theme. They are usually like interested more than if I would say we're a death metal band, and the people are, it's that music. But when you add like, and we have this underwater ocean theme, they are like more interested in that and and maybe they try to imagine what that would sound like. So for me, I think it's a good way also for promoting.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it stays in the mind of the people if you say, that was that underwater death metal band. And like I normally get good reaction, and that the people are interested in that. So that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that's sick, man. That's excellent. I actually said to a guy I know who runs a fanzine called Winter Torment. That's pretty much more or less what I said when I first got in touch with Dohrn. I said, dude, I said, you've got to hear this band from Austria. I said, death metal around the ocean. I know there's like you rightly said, there's a few of the bands who do it. Is it the deathcore band Oceano with the kind of band name that rep kind of alludes to water and everything. But yeah, when I told Patrick, my friend, about you guys, he was like, "Oh man, this sounds interesting." He said, "I've got to check these out. Have you got a link?" And I said, "Yeah." I sent him your website. I said, "Go and have a look at this, man." So, with that said, do you feel the way you present yourselves, which kind of keeps alive the whole the characters, the whole world that you're doing? I like when Dawn told me how we wanted to set this up, I went, yep. I said, that sounds sick. It's got that mystery element, like your hood's up now, face is not quite so clear, and I like that because it's continuing the art and concept that you're doing with your music. So with that said, do you feel this, I know there's a few other bands who do a little bit about the water, but do you feel it adds something a little extra, helps you stand out promotion wise, and as you rightly said, people to remember you, this is the band that does death metal about the ocean?
Well, it makes things a lot easier, I guess.
Yeah.
Like to give a stupid example, like I don't have to think about which filter to use every time I upload a picture to
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a little bit of blue and maybe green in there, and then it's black and white, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think, like, if you have an idea where you want to go, it actually makes things easier as soon as you found it.
Yeah.
I think like bands that change that all the time. I mean, I've like respect for everybody who like wants to do different things. But right now, we don't feel to do it differently, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Also, because I'm like responsible not for all, but for some of the t-shirt designs, or also design wise.
Nice.
I'm like trying at home and with different ideas, and some ideas like they're cool, so we print a t-shirt. And for me, it's easy. Like with this, I have like a way to go, or like, okay, this is the theme, and now I try to make something cool in that theme. And like when we didn't, or when if we didn't have that theme, it was like, for me, it's like, okay, now I can do so many things, and maybe then it's overwhelming, or I don't get like good ideas. For me, I personally am more focused when I have like a destination where I want to come, like with a design or something. And so this is good for me. That keeps me going in the right direction, and also to find the ideas a bit, also for designs of t-shirt or something like that. And yes, I think with the whole theme, it's like we can stay focused a lot easier, I think, for me.
So I'm wondering as well, when you play live, do you continue that mystery element when you play live?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be sick.
Right.
Yeah, we have first of all, we have several instructions for light technicians. Only blue and green light, and only from the back. So
Oh, nice.
A lot of fog. Like we step onto stage, onto the fog. Like you only see silhouettes, and you only continue to see silhouettes for the entire show.
Oh man, I like it. I'm intrigued already.
Yeah, there's absolutely no talking.
Oh.
No announcers or like, hey, we are Guyod, or like that. Like the show it's one thing from beginning to the end. It's like a performance. There is not, we go out and we play that song and then we talk. And we have like a sampler also between the songs. Yeah. So like we try to make the whole concert one performance, also with like atmospheric samples between the songs.
A lot of drone feedback.
Yeah, drone feedback and like not
like classic speeches during the bosses. They're more like
I love it.
I'm actually introducing the songs with some kind of preaching or so.
Oh, nice. So it's like this, as you said. It's like I'm getting a sense of it almost like dark theater with the soundtrack. It's fascinating.
Yeah,
I sometimes call them like rituals or ceremonies, because it feels like at least we know there's a certain structure in the concert. We know where there's going to be like stuff going crazy and stuff just, I don't know, where there's just an ambient part.
You know what's
yeah,
and you know what's sorry, go on, man.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm getting too excited. I'll talk.
All good.
I was just thinking, man, if you have gone to that kind of show and you're going away as a fan, as you were saying, it sticks in people's minds already, the concept that you're going with. And to hear that you've got this kind of like dark theatrical performance with the music, backed up by the music, man, people are going to go away from the shows and they're going to remember that. It's no disrespect to any of the bands on the lineup or anything, but they're going to say, like, do you remember that what Guyod did, where it was the music that had the effects, transitioned. So you've got those spoken pieces. That's going to stick in your mind. And that would, for me, have me, I'm going to use a phrase I've been using throughout the interview, curious. It would have me curious again, because I think, so what are they going to do in the next time I see them? How are they going to follow this up in the future? What is the next part in this story, the songs? That is a pretty cool, unique take for me. And for someone that has a very overactive imagination to begin with, that just sets my mind going crazy. So I love it, man. That's really awesome to hear. I'm curious as well. I will ask you about the other songs. Don't worry, guys. I haven't forgotten. But there's something that's come up on a lot of the shows recently. Bands have been talking about full-length albums and short EPs, all with people having, sadly, seems shorter attention spans now with things like TikTok and etc. So I just wondered, you all as musicians, where do you stand on the whole? Should we do now just focus on shorter EPs or full albums? For example, I was talking to Johnny from Heads for the Dead from Sweden, and he was saying the way they do it, they'll do like a full album, then an EP, then a full album. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm still a huge fan of albums, like listening to albums, even though like the whole streaming culture like tends you to go away from that. Sort of has that effect on me as well, I guess, but still I'm a huge fan of making albums. And luckily, I guess we're in a scene like the underground metal scene where people still appreciate that.
Great.
I guess in other genres you would have it more difficult when you feel still a fan of albums and want to do that.
Yeah, I think too that when you make this kind of music, like the people who are listening to this kind of music, they get the whole album thing with okay, this is a concept. The whole album is like it's one story a bit, or like one atmosphere that goes through, and it's not like we are some rock band or other band who would, for them, like for a normal rock band, maybe it's easier to pull out 1 or 2 singles every 2 months, and then they get the attention on the social media. And I think for music that's like open wider, like with a wider audience, like pop or rock, then there maybe it's easier to get more followers. But with the underground music, there is like the people who listen to your music are here to appreciate that, and they want to hear a full album. I think if we as a band like pull out one song every 2-3 months, I think the people will get bored, or maybe they will not appreciate the art that much as when it comes out as a whole album.
I think also the more mainstream the music gets, the more is the effect that you mentioned. Like in hip hop or pop, it's something completely different. But on the, let's say, more niche market of underground metal music, there's, I think, one of the highest appreciations for albums actually.
Agreed.
Combined with references that we like albums.
Yeah.
It's a piece of art in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to think about where do you want to put the songs? Like, how do you want to wrap it in? Like, how should people approach your music? And I think it's just more than just to like release the song on Spotify and that's it.
Yeah.
And like somebody draw or make a painting for that one song. Like, I mean, I don't judge if people do, but that's not what they're doing.
Yeah,
album also much more coherent. Than a single every 2 months.
Yeah, you don't want your music to be so easily disposable. And I've noticed what you've said with how in different genres or more popular genres, mainstream, it can be very different. And I was saying to one of the recent guests, I feel in underground metal and even in punk hardcore as well, the fan bases are very loyal, very passionate, and they still appreciate the full albums. And I think that's why we've got the huge, I mean, this is another topic that's come up a lot, but we've got the huge demand for vinyl because people are wanting to own that as an extended piece of the band, like as the artwork that you can put on vinyl. And I've said this probably nearly every episode so far. There's people that are buying vinyl releases from the underground bands, not just for a different listening experience, but I've seen like pictures and videos of some people where they've put them on the walls as like a picture, like a frame, just saying, no, I want this there as a piece of art for that reason. I mean, the negative is that vinyl is super expensive. You know where I'm going to go with this in a moment. But yeah, I'm thankful that so far from a lot of the bands that I've spoken to, such as yourselves from the underground scenes, where it's been, you know, thrash, death, sludge, black, hardcore, whatever. Thankfully, at the moment, there still is that appreciation for the full albums. And I think because now there's so many bands as well, and I think, as you said, if it's constant singles all the time, you don't want to oversaturate if your fan base either, like them, as you said, them to get bored of your music, like, oh man, or couldn't this just wait for the next full-length release? And if you're doing a particular concept, you've kind of got like a story cinematic feel, which you guys have, as I'm trying to behave myself and not help spoil things here. You don't want to give too much away to your fans. You want to keep that mystery element, or it's like, hey, we already know the whole story, the whole kind of feel before that album's dropped. So it's kind of defeatist then. But this is perfect segue for me to comment on the pre-orders for the vinyl editions. And man, you've got a marble and black edition, and man, that marble edition, you know, you've got the blue again, Ōjin. I love it, guys. It's, again, no ego stroking, but I just like those different colors that people can choose from. So I just wondered again, who did that for you?
You mean the vinyls themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your point.
Yeah, that's my point. The vinyls are getting pressed at my 45 in Bavaria.
Nice.
And this it's a record pressing plant that I have a personal connection to, since I used to work there, and I have some insight into vinyl production. So I have a fairly high degree of understanding of the medium, I would say, from technical perspective, what is possible and what is not possible. And we like did our best to get 100 or maybe 110% out of the medium.
Yeah. It's because of the art that you can do with vinyl as well, and because I hope that bands are still even able to do limited runs in the future. I know it's really expensive, but some of the artwork I've seen so far, both on the covers, on the discs themselves, they've been pretty sick, and I'm like, man, this is awesome stuff. So just turning back to the forthcoming album that drops on the 4th of November, so not too far away now. And I'm trying to behave myself here and not help spoil it, as I said. So you've got some really interesting titles, from The Everlasting Lightless Realm, Dissension, Unfathomable Depths, into the Temple of Virpa in Tharsis. All of those titles come across to me. They definitely stimulate my imagination. They make me, as a listener, want to listen, because I'm like, what's the story here? It's almost like titles again for a movie, or chapters in a novel. So, did you all arrange the track list in a particular manner so that you would get that impression across to your fans?
Yes. Well, yeah.
That's
It took us a little bit of time to get those tracks in order, but yeah, sure. And I mean, the titles themselves, and I mean, you've seen them, and because they're already accessible, like on Bandcamp and so on, so people can already see the names of the songs at least. So there's this trilogy on there, which is like sort of takes a central part in the album. And like we just wanted to get the album like flowing in a meaningful way. Make it really interesting to listen to. Hopefully people will have to check it themselves.
Do you as well, musically on these songs, do you continue the mix of kind of the calm and the ferocious?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't.
Yeah, on the throughout the album, as I was commenting with Watcher in the Dark, how you've got that transition from like a calm melodic approach into the ferociousness in the sound, like with the ocean itself, from the calm to the fierce. Do you continue that approach with the other songs on the album?
Yeah, I think there are some songs which like incorporate that more than other songs, but I think generally like a way we do our music with like, let's do an atmosphere and then destroy that atmosphere with blast beats and death metal tools, and then maybe return to that atmosphere with maybe a different like let's evolve. But yes, I think throughout the album you will have ferocious and kind of destructive riffs, then we will have melodic things, atmospheric things. Like there are many things in the songs. There will be a lot of that.
Yay, that's good to hear. You still got to have the moshness there. You still got to have all of that plenty of good headbanging too. So I just wondered, outside of, well, I'll ask you a two-part question actually. What would be some of the other death metal bands that you all like, and say and which of those bands have particularly caught your attention? Are there any that, as we've been talking about, doing different concepts, doing something that helps an artist stand out? So is there any other bands where you think, man, they do something quite unique, they've always kind of grabbed my attention?
I would say bands that caught my attention would be, for example, Desolate Shrine and Python Blood. So in the death metal genre, and I'm actually myself more from black metal, but
for me, maybe, I mean, they've got the death metal elements, or they used to. Like, Opeth has been like a huge influence, and like made me at least approach music differently. Like when I got to know them. Maybe some recent discoveries of like a very interesting death metal band for me is Immolation from the US.
Yes.
They're fucking awesome. It's just like incredible, like brutal, but not stupid brutal, but still extremely interesting. It's like awesome band, I think.
For me, it's like there's Chernobog, Spectral Voice, or Blood. For me, I think Blood Incantation was one of that bands which like incorporated that raw death metal, but with some deep atmospheric things, like sound-wise also was very interesting for me, like Ruins of Everest also. But yeah, and I think, of course, the classic metal bands who I think influenced us all. Like he said, Opeth, of course. I'm big Slayer fan, of course, or like the classical metal thing. I think a bit is always there. But yeah, newer things are for me definitely Chernobog and Spectral Voice. Yeah.
For me, a lot of early metal influences were more like the melodic death scene, like Dark Tranquility and Children of Bottom. They were, and Opeth, which has been named several times now. Also, some inspiration from actually like stoner rock and stoner doom, which was for a long time influence of mine, bands like Rock Fighters or Cal L. Yes. These were huge influences for me, for example.
May throw another band into the ring, which I just stumbled across a few years ago, and which I find really interesting, is Sulfree in Germany. It's like black death metal, which, I mean, they don't really have an underwater theme, but they're this Lovecraft themed band, and which is, I think, just great atmosphere and great band. Awesome.
I'll have to check them out, man. I mean, the cosmic horror themes as well is something that I find interesting as a sci-fi nerd. Again, it's just putting a different perspective on. There was a band I came across recently. I plan to reach out to them, actually. They're from the west coast of the States, a black and sludge band called Blackstaff, and all their music is kind of inspired by D&D, and this kind of themes of I think it's like a Bone Queen who's kind of some kind of necromancer, but it's got a kind of this rawness in the vocals. You've got the blackened vocals, you've got that rawness there, huge crushing sludgy riffs, and for some people it might not be the fastest stuff, so they might think, oh yeah, I get a bit bored with it, but it's still got that heaviness there in a different way. It's very, very atmospheric. And again, that rawness combined with it and the crushing riffs just drags us in. So I don't know if anyone, I know you just mentioned you're into some stoner as well. If anyone's into anything like that, and I think it was either one, possibly Unholy Elephants. They're a black and sludge band as well. They're pretty good, but I cannot recall whereabouts they're from. Not sure if they're still active. There's a problem sometimes. When you go live and listening to so much music, your mind gets overloaded and you can forget what you actually listened to. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the band. It's like, oh man, it's one of the perils. So I'm just curious as well, outside of outside of black and death metal, is there any other music that you like or that you think, oh yeah, I like the way they do things? For example, I'm going to go completely out. I'm going to go completely off the wall here. Dark synth, dark techno. Anything?
Dark ambient for me sometimes.
Mm.
For me, dark ambient is a huge influence too. It's the whole thing about the cryo chamber. Don't know if you know them.
I don't know.
Some kind of dark ambient collective. They've got many artists and really creepy stuff, and
Interesting.
you should check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
want to.
For me, it's like I have these two sides. One side is like the death black metal, dark ambient thing, and then I have the other side where I like stoner, doom also, but more stoner rock or hard rock. And I also have a band like where I play stoner rock, but it's more for fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I have some friends who don't even listen to metal, and when they are like listening to don't know hip hop or more like modern pop, I can enjoy that too. Like I get that there are very interesting songs also in other genres, and I think for me personally, like a song can catch me. It doesn't matter what genre. If a song catches me, it catches me, and it's like, okay, I like that. Maybe I don't like hip hop that much, but that song really got me. I like to look at that way. So every song has his purpose and his meaning, and if it gets me, it gets me. Simple as that. Yeah.
Some genres I would be genre I'm always going back to when not listening to metal is some psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And newer stuff to like the Devil's Blood.
Yeah. Yeah, that stoner rock, and again the psychedelic vibes. It's got that catchy feel to it. It's got like that fun energy, and it's just it's easy to move around to as well. But it can be quite chill as well, even though you can have the strong riffage there. Desert rock too. Well, very similar to stoner rock. Is cool for those reasons too. And I think as well, when you if you can put that feeling into your music, into your song, whatever your genre is, and then you put the lyrics and titles after that. I know some people do it the other way around. I've had people on the show say that, but if it's got that feeling there, and then that gets across to the audience as well, and then they feel that, rather than say someone stood there all bland playing like this, and they're just nobody's feeling that at all. So I wondered as well, again, I'm going to behave myself. I don't know if you've started yet working on the next release, if you've already started writing, if you have some even songs kind of in a rough process. If so, or even if not, are you planning to kind of do a sequel to the concept that you have on this album, continue the story forward?
Well, as of now, there are no plans of changing like the core orientation of the band.
Yay.
There's some stuff like already in progress. We got some stuff, but
Yay.
I think we're not going to give away too much. But
yeah,
there's already some stuff.
The ideas floating around, but now we are concentrate on this.
Yeah,
the things in the pipeline. Now we concentrate on this and have like some good shows, upcoming shows where we can promote like this release, and then after get tired of the shows, maybe we get back in the rehearsal room and start like, okay, let's do some new things. Let's write the new stuff. I don't know, But I think for the moment we are very occupied with these songs and have a lot of energy for these songs, and we're gonna use that energy and bring it out and have some nice shows, and eventually I think we will get the new stuff or some new stuff. And let's see where that leads us. I think you have always to be open for, like, if you plan too much, maybe it's not that good. Like maybe in a year we have a bit a different view, but I think as said, it's like the core element will be the same or will stay like the same.
That's good to hear. I remember talking to one of the past guests, and we were on about like as bands evolve and say they change the sound, and he was saying as long as the core essence stays within the music and it doesn't go too far away where then it's become an entirely different band altogether. So that's good you're keeping that essence, especially as what you're playing music around and what you're writing about, which I really like. So I'm sure people will dig that. I know you have some upcoming shows as well, as you just mentioned, some album to promote the release of the album. Sorry, one on the 10th of November with Azariah, some lights. I have actually very busy month going ahead and right through into December as well. So, and you've got the open air next year as well. So very, very busy time ahead. I hope all of those go well. And I'm sure people will dig seeing you play live, man, for sure. I just wondered as well, is there any other merchandise at all outside of the vinyl and shirts that you may be planning to release alongside the new album?
Some stuff is going to come out, but people will see what and when. So we got our there's merch that we offer as a band on, like, you can buy at our shows or you can order them on our Bandcamp, and there is also merchandise from one of our labels, from Fulton Cows. You can order it at their shop. They got like different designs than we have, which is like a distinction that we, as of now, want to keep. And but people should keep their eyes open, I would say, on these two channels. Find out what's going to come.
Can I share one of my nerdy thoughts that went through my mind when I was watching, plug intended, when I was watching The Watcher in the Dark. This just shows how nerdy I am. I know when he said The Watcher at the end, he's playing the drums, and we're talking about merchandise now. I thought, man, wouldn't that make a good like figurine? You know, like a action figure or something. You've got the Watcher on the drums, and I thought I was been waiting to ask you all about
that. Maybe.
Actually, bad idea.
Or maybe not.
Budget and all. Yeah, I'm such a nerd, man. I look at everything with music, all the Easter eggs, and it's pretty crazy what goes through my mind. It inspires me. People like, how did you think of this or whatever from listening to this death metal band? Don't ask, it just jumps in my mind. It's like it's a curse at times, guys. Having an overactive visual imagination. It's like I see everything like a movie all the time, and sometimes it's terrible to kind of. I wish I could turn my own mind off, especially if I'm trying to sleep on a night and I've got a movie still playing in my head about whatever it could be. Man, I've got to get up soon. It's like it's terrible. Of the topic question as well, from my nerdiness as well, do you all like football? And if you do, what team do you support?
I think you got the wrong band here.
That's it. Interview over.
I think no one of us is like into football.
Yeah.
Any combat sports then? MMA, anything like that?
with sports.
I like
And
Formula One.
Yeah, you know, Formula One's cool.
Yeah, and I'm Italian, so I have to like Ferrari, and for me, Ferrari is the way to go. But
Yeah.
they are not performing. Not performing.
No, not at the moment.
In my heart, there is Ferrari. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of passive sports.
Yeah.
I'm not that active in sports too, but not really drinking beer and watching the you know, on camera.
Yeah.
I like to drink beer, but
Yeah. Well, we could say that's an alternative sport, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
maintaining the healthy thirst. You could do some oceanic beers. There's a merchandise line. You know, maybe.
yeah, you're giving us lots of great ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like I said, man, I'm just such a nerd. I will tell you about one of my gaffes I did surrounding sports and fitness off air, but I'll tell you that one off air. It was fairly recent as well, and it was quite a huge gaff. But yeah. Well, guys, I do want to, thank you for joining me today. I've been looking forward for this for a long time. And actually, just before I do wrap up, one last question. So, when you were all going through the creative process together, do you all bounce the ideas back and forth and look at, say, the music thing? Right, this riff works here, or this bass part works, or no, we need to extend the drums part in this section. I just wondered how you all do that, because it differs from bands, I've noticed.
Well, usually, as of now, there hasn't been too much back and forth in the rehearsal room.
Cool.
Usually, I like basically come up with ideas or like more or less finished songs, and then we work on that. And of course, there's some change. Like everybody gets in their ideas, and let's maybe make this part longer, this part shorter, or let's throw this part out of the song. And so there's still interesting stuff happening, but we're not like a jamming band where we just meet to like, oh, that sounds like a cool riff. And what can we do?
Yeah.
Usually it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that the structure of the song normally is there, and then you go in the rehearsal room and see if it works, and maybe make little detail changes, or like, okay, let's try another drum rhythm underneath that riff. Maybe it works better, maybe it works. And so like these changes we make in the rehearsal room, but normally the songs are like pretty good pre-written. And I like it as a drummer. I have to say I like that, because it's like when I get like some structure of new songs, I can hear and I can like get a bit the feeling of the song and the idea where it should go, and then I can add my stuff. And it's so I think it's easy for the theme to go on. And for us it works perfectly fine, and I think nobody gets left out with his creative ideas, because like everybody can say something and show what he maybe has in his head, and then we decide all together if that works or not.
And I think usually songwriting also gets like really interesting when you feel like the song structure is done like musically.
Yeah.
But then like when Ōjin comes in with the lyrics, it's like usually this changes the whole feel of the song again, and it's just like great to see that evolve, I think.
Yeah. It's like adding those further creative layers on top of the process, which is good to hear. And I'm getting the sense this went very smoothly, and there was, I mean, were there any big challenges to overcome making the album? Because with the theme and everything, and you're wanting to keep that vision in mind, or I'm getting the sense it actually went pretty smoothly.
more or less.
More or less,
Yeah.
Mm.
It was a
Well-
crazy lady during recording, but it's not the story for another day.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe sorry for off the record.
Yeah.
No, but it went quite well. Maybe it took us longer than, or at least that I would have expected in the beginning. But
Yeah.
but it's we took the time it took. That's I think that's
Yeah,
we're lucky that we could take the time. That
we
had to
don't
take.
want to think about that too much. The end product is that what matters, and
Yeah.
now it's done. We can change it, and it runs smoothly. I would
Yeah.
say it was a whole process, but it's normal, and
Yeah.
of course everybody is like trying to put into his ideas and as strong as like or try to force it, but in the end there are things you are like, okay, we had to cut this because of time, or like things in the environment, the producing environment. And so in the end you are very happy when it's like finished. You are like this weight falling off your
yes.
chest, and you're like, now it's finished, and
Yeah.
don't remember that. Let's
Yeah,
focus
yeah.
stuff in the future. And
Yeah, keep going forward. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's really cool, man. No, honestly, I was stoked to get you guys on the show. I've been talking with Dohrn for a while, and you know, well, as you've obviously gathered, and anybody who watches this later will be like, yeah, I was completely drawn in by the concept. I just thought, man, this has got my attention immediately. I like what they're doing, and when you sent me the video as well, for the Watcher, you know, Watcher in the Dark, sorry. Again, the whole cinematic feels with it, how the music blends with that. And hopefully I could see you live one day, hopefully you get over here, because I think that would be quite a unique performance to see that, because I like how you're drawing, again, from theatre, cinema with the music. It just adds something to it. I always ask guests when we get to the end of the show if there's anything they would like to shout out about, any upcoming shows. I know I mentioned some of them earlier, or plug anything you want, or shout out anybody.
Well, whoever's watching this maybe just wanna check out our stuff, check out our video if you haven't seen it yet. Check out our social media where you'll find out about like merch that we got, shows that are coming up, and yeah, I hope that those who show interest, or yeah, the people will show interest in. Yeah. That was a clumsy shout out.
It's all right. So don't worry.
Somebody will.
Don't worry about it. It's a very organic show. It can happen. I get tongue tied myself, or things just evaporate on the spot, or it doesn't come out the way I intended to. But no, it's natural and real, man. So you know that's what counts. I do want to thank you all again for joining me from the depths today. Taking time out for, you know, against the war against the evil Atlanteans and the emo pop that they're trying to force you to listen to. So, but no, guys, I'll put all the links to where people can find you in the description as well. Y'all go and check Guyod out. If you enjoy music that's a little bit different, it's got something extra to it, and definitely check them out, especially if you're into death metal as well. You certainly won't be disappointed. Don't forget to pre-order as well the new album. Again, information about this will be in the description, and definitely support bands such as Guyod, and let's help keep this music active and out there. So folks, it's uncomfortable pause time where I hit end stream and I look like I've been possessed by something for a couple of seconds. So again, thanks everybody, and shout out to all those who've either watched live or watched back later. Don't forget to follow, support, and subscribe both to Guyod and to Fed Up, and you can stay active on everything that we're all doing. So everybody have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next episode of Fed Up.